1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All righty, now go back to the Facebook page and say go live. Okay, now we can minimize this. All right, this is a level check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer in the First Alert Streaming Center, or actually the Fox 19 Now Streaming Center. And we are looking at a couple First Alert weather days, low level, not important ones, just wet roads and slow going for your commute. May see a little bit of road spray, may see a little bit of reduction in visibility, but overall, it could be much worse if temperatures were a few degrees colder or several degrees colder. It would, okay, looks like the levels are all working out. If you are listening, ready to go on Facebook, we will be with you, or not we, I will be with you in just about 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm going up to Facebook here. Okay, that's up and running. Go to YouTube. Okay, we're up and running on YouTube. We're up and running on Facebook. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, this is a level check.
And I'm looking at this. I see Jeff Beechler and Barbara Bill are watching. All right. I will be with you guys in under a minute.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, this is a level check. And I'm looking.
Okay. Take a swig of Diet Mountain Dew here to start off with a wet throat. Okay, this is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. I'll be with you in under 1 minute. And I hope everybody's going to have a happy Thanksgiving. If you have to do any traveling, wet roads will be the worst you're going to encounter, and we'll talk all about that coming up here shortly. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it is 7:15. Hi, everybody. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer in the streaming center at Fox 19 Now. Now, if you're not a resident of the city or around the city, this is the Taylor Southgate Bridge. You see the cars on? That is the main bridge out of downtown Cincinnati since the I-471 southbound lanes were closed due to that fire. And usually at this time of night, it is backed up bumper to bumper. But I'm assuming that because it's Thanksgiving Eve, a lot of people took the day off or took off early, and there's not as much traffic there, and it seems to be moving along very, very well. All right, temperature 45 at the International Airport. That is the official temperature for the Cincinnati metro area. Now let's take a look at another bridge. Now you could see this a few minutes ago, much sharper, but we've got some rain that just started coming down here in downtown Cincinnati. But this is from about 4.5 miles away from our tower cam, and you're looking at the Brent Spence Bridge on I-7175. The traffic on the upper deck heading to the right is southbound into Kentucky. Lower deck heading to the left is northbound into Ohio. Pretty heavy traffic, but at this time of night, it's usually that way, and it is all moving along well. And as far as we know, there are no major traffic issues around the tri-state. Okay, this is our Turfway Park camera, and you can see some of the raindrops there on the lens cover. So overall, we are talking about a little bit of rain around the area. It'll get heavier as we head through the evening. Right now, it's generally just light rain and enough to slow you down a little bit. So airport temperatures, now these are the 7 p.m. temperatures. You can see it's 45 at CVG, 43 in Falmouth and Madison, 48 in Ashland. Maysville, you're at 46. Batavia 45, Lunken 46, but down to 37 and 39 for Richmond and Washington Courthouse. So mostly in the low 40s. Temperatures this evening should come up a couple degrees before they steady out into the middle and upper 30s for tomorrow morning. Okay. So here's radar, and you can see it moving north and eastward at a pretty good clip. And what we're looking at there is we are looking at all rain, and the yellow represents moderate to heavy rainfall. And so we have got some periods of moderate to heavy rain. We'll take a look at how much rain we expect to see out of this and how much snow coming up here in a couple minutes. Now we're going to zoom out, and when we do, you can see that that rain continues all the way back into actually Kansas and northern Oklahoma. Now what's going to happen here is this, okay? What we're looking at is, okay, here's the rain that's moving through in the tri-state. This is ahead of the storm system. So we basically have southwesterly winds, and so the warmer southwesterly winds are going to push the temperature up a couple degrees. Notice how this is sinking south and eastward, okay? It's behind the main disturbance. Winds here are out of the north, and so as the cooler air comes in, as the night cools off, a lot of this will change over to a mix of rain and wet snow. Now, around noon today, meteorologist Ashley Smith checked the temperatures of road pavement and road surface temperatures, as we call them, around the tri-state, and they're in the upper 40s to lower 50s. Okay, it's a long way from freezing. Air temperatures overnight, while the precipitation's coming down and after, are expected to stay above freezing. So the combination of both being above freezing means that all this, when it changes to a wet snow mix, is going to end up being just a wet situation on the roads. Now, two things with the wet situation on the roads, actually three things. One, there could be some ponding in some of the roadways. You know, some of those low dips may have a little bit of water in them. Number two, spray from the roads could cause a reduction in visibility, and falling precipitation could cause a reduction in visibility. So it may be a slow go, but what we have coming our way for tonight into tomorrow morning is not a traffic stopper. It's just a slowdown, okay? Just typical of a rainy day. And if you get involved in some of the heavier amounts of rainfall, it'll be even slower than that. But overall, not a really bad situation if you've got to travel, or let's say you know somebody that's traveling into town. All right. So take a look at this. Now, this is a map of visibility. Okay, oftentimes we use this for fog, but rain falling or snow falling can reduce the visibility quite a bit. Some of that rain evaporates as it comes down. That increases the relative humidity, and that can lead to what we call a rain-fog mix. Not necessarily right at the ground, but it can definitely reduce the visibility. So watch what happens. Look at the red areas you see, and those red areas are a quarter-mile visibility or less. Notice how it expands as the rain picks up and gets a bit heavier. This is 2:30 a.m. So if you're heading out this evening, just wet. If you head out and you're going to drive out of the tri-state overnight, especially to the north, you're going to end up with some low visibility in addition to the rain and puddles on the roadway. And then by the time we get to 6 a.m., the only places with visibility issues may be Clinton, Highland counties, and then southern Brown, any part of Adams, the eastern part of Bracken, Robertson County, Mason County, and Lewis counties may have a little bit of visibility reductions even by 6 a.m. And then as we head toward 8 a.m., it is gone. So we are done with that. Visibility is recovered pretty well in almost all locations. So first alert weather days in effect. And again, when we talk about first alert weather days here at Fox 19, they range from, it's a heads up, not a big deal, but you should know about it, to take cover, your life's in danger. This is way over here. This is a low-level first alert weather day because it's just about wet roads. It's about a slowdown in traffic, but it's not about driving out into the open areas north of here and ending up stranded in the snow and ice. That's not going to happen. It's just rain. So first alert weather day can be something very serious. In this case, it's just to let you know that we definitely have some weather that you need to know about that may impact you a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the model output now. So this is the model output as of 6 p.m., so a little bit more than an hour ago. And you can see the yellow increase in aerial coverage there. Look at all that yellow. That's 9 p.m. Yellow into the orange or orange-red color inside the yellow. There are some heavy downpours in this, and some very slow going can be expected just because of reduced visibility. of road spray and, of course, the ponding and that on the roadways. Okay, well, and it stays that way. 10:30, we still got some heavy rain. We still have some heavy rain by about 1:30 a.m. And then everything begins to cool off, and you can see the pink here. Okay, now notice it's green and pink mix, so it's a rain-snow mix. And the blue, this is all sinking south and eastward. And notice, even as far northwest as Connorsville, it's still 36 degrees at 5 a.m. So that's telling you it's a wet situation and not an icy one. Okay, put this back into motion, and look at that. By 8 a.m., this model says it is gone. Now, what's not showing up here is that in behind this, and as we go from the moist air with the system to the dry air that's coming in, there'll be some low cloud cover. There might be a little bit of drizzle in that. The models don't pick up on that very well. So it's going to be kind of drippy and damp in the morning. Again, this is 8 a.m., and then we'll gradually dry out and clear out a little bit. It's not going to become sunny, but it's going to clear out a little bit as the cloud cover thins around the tri-state. All right, so here's what the GFS, that's the Global Forecast System. It's the model run by the American companies here. Oops, sorry, I hit the button. That model says Connorsville get 3.5 inches of snow. Okay, now a couple points I want to make here. Number one is, even if Connorsville would get 3.5 inches of snow, and I do not expect that, I expect maybe 2, it's almost all going to melt as it hits. So the roads will stay wet. Maybe if you get a burst of snow, they'll temporarily be slushy as the snow melts. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to melt the snow than at other times. But it's not an icy situation by any stretch of the imagination. And this is the model that has the highest snow totals for us. Now remember, and I think Ashley Smith put it very well on our noon streaming show today. She said, remember, this isn't the snow you're going to measure. This is the snow that falls. And the way the National Weather Service works it to figure out snowfall totals at official locations is if it melts as it hits, they reconstruct how much snow it would have been if it didn't melt, and that gives you the total. So in this case, 3.5 inches of snow may melt, but only a little slush is going to stick around. So that is the model that gives us the highest amount. So it says maybe 1.1 in Lebanon, Batavia, 0.8, Georgetown and Brown County, 0.2, 1.1 in Hillsborough, an inch in Owenton. However, this other model has a completely different idea about what's going to happen here. And what you see is that only Connorsville is listed as getting a little bit of snow. That's 0.2 of an inch of snow, and everybody else gets 0. Okay, now I don't think this model is completely correct. I don't think the other model is completely correct, but I would say maybe an inch in some spots, maybe a few spots up to the northwest, 1.5 inches. But again, the impact is basically nil. It's going to be wet roads, and that's the only kind of slowdown you're going to get. Okay, so, and then what about the rainfall with this system? Well, the rainfall, take a look at this. This is another good soaker, okay? We are well on our way to recharging the soil moisture. Some of those farm ponds are going to show a nice recovery here because we have as much as maybe 3/4 of an inch of rainfall coming down. Some places maybe just a little bit more than 1/2 inch, but everybody gets a pretty good soaker out of this, and that's good news for the soil moisture and for farmers and gardeners and people that have a lawn in the future. Okay, so here is what the model says. It says 8:10 a.m. Thursday. We are already on the back edge of this, okay? So when here, Cincinnati's right here, I-71 goes up right like this. So everything by 8 a.m., 8:10 a.m. on this model is east of Interstate 71. What's left is a little bit of sprinkle or drizzle activity, and it is gone, okay, after that. So the rest of your Thanksgiving day won't clear out. It'll be drippy, kind of drizzly for a while, and then everything will dry out slowly. But overall, looks like pretty good weather. And then you see, hey, look at that. Up to the north on Friday, there might be a little bit of light snow. That could be some slick spots if you're heading up that way or coming back from that way. But nothing around here. Same issue, that system down to the south on Sunday, actually Sunday around midnight, so Saturday night into Sunday morning, may cause a few flurries around the tri-state, and then that is about it. But we are definitely going to be on the cold side. So this evening, the sun's been down since 5:18, so it's been down in 2 hours and 8 minutes. We're dropping to 40 by 11 p.m. Overnight, a low of 36. For the morning, if you're going anywhere, the roads will be wet. The rain-snow mix will be coming to an end. And again, as I mentioned, by 8 a.m. it should be completely out of our viewing area. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 30s in the morning with wind chills in the 25 to 35 degree range. Here's the new Climate Prediction Center forecast. We're looking at still colder than normal here, but notice we're no longer in the dark blue, we're in the lighter blue, so we should see a bit of a warming trend when we get to the graph of the next 14 days. Through December 11th, colder than normal, and then it continues to pull off to the north and east as we head toward Christmas Day. Now, what we're going to end up with here, that'll be updated on Friday. Actually, it looks like it was updated today. Maybe they updated it today because Friday's a day off for the forecasters there. But overall, we're going back to about normal temperature-wise. Precipitation-wise, because it's cold and that's cold, dry air, below normal December 7th through December 11th, below normal, and then back to normal as we head toward the 25th of December. So here's your 7-day forecast. Look for a low overnight, right around 36, high tomorrow 42, a wet mix in the morning, ending before 8 a.m., then dry and clearing, slow clearing. 26 and 34, the low and high on Friday. Look at that, 19 Saturday morning with a high of 32. Clouds increase with a few flakes maybe late in the day. Cold on Sunday with a low of 21, a high of 30. 18 and 31 on Monday with a chance for a few evening flurries, nothing much though. Partly cloudy on Tuesday with a high of 33, and then 24 and 35 for Wednesday. Okay, now we go to beyond the 7 days. So the 7 day took us out to the 4th of December. This one takes us out to the 11th. Oh, the 11th of December. You know what that is? That's my son's 47th birthday. Gosh, I've got a son that's will be 47 years old on the 11th of December. Whew, makes me feel old. All right. And you've probably heard me talk about feeling old quite a bit. Thank you for bearing with me. You know, but again, and I've said this before, as my dad used to say, and when you're a young man, you never think you're going to quote your dad, but I am. Getting old beats the alternative. All right, so look at those high temperatures. We've got a few of them in the 30s, a few of them in the 40s, morning lows basically in the 20s. And so we have a little bit of a warming trend coming our way. Now, it doesn't mean we go way up above normal. It just means we dig our way out of the coldest part of the next 14 days. And also notice that from the 7th through the 11th, each day there could be a little bit of a flurry, a little bit of wet snow. And because we are in one of those situations where we actually have we have that jet stream pattern that brings us the little clippers out of Canada without a lot of moisture. So here we go. There you see the highs, the lows, put the normal high line on that. So even though we have a warming trend taking us closer to normal, we're still colder than normal through the 11th. We're colder than normal on the low side through the 28th, and then near normal for the rest of the time. And here's the takeaway from this particular forecast. Colder than normal, several low moisture clipper systems come our way, and a few episodes of light snow are possible around the tri-state. One other thing I wanted to do here, I forgot to put this into the weather show rundown. I want to get, and now if I can just, the trouble is trying to find it. And I want to show you again about the clipper. We talked about this yesterday. I thought I'd repeat it for anybody that wasn't here yesterday so you can understand why each of those days that we saw in that forecast can have some precipitation, but we're not worried about it because they're precipitation from clipper systems, which are generally pretty dry. All right, so I found it. I just forgot to turn it on. As soon as it loads here, I'll take it full screen and let you see what we're looking at here. Okay, so first of all, up to the north in blue is cold, down to the south, you see in Mexico, the Caribbean, the orangish red shade is warm. And then in between, where all the lines are, is where you have the jet stream system. And I guess the best way for me to pinpoint the jet stream is follow the darker green band here. So this would approximately be the jet stream pattern. The jet stream supplies the energy for most of those low pressure systems, the L's you see on weather maps, and that it's also the storm track. Okay, so generally now the storms that form can modify the jet stream, but generally if you're thinking about forecasting where it's going to go, you'd say, oh, if one starts up here, it's going to flow south and eastward, then north and east, and flow past the Cincinnati area. Okay, so what I want you to see though is watch what happens here. Where we are right on the border of the cold air and the warm. This gray, this kind of green blue here. This is the coldest of the cold air. So right in here is where Cincinnati is on the edge, and so this, even though it feels cold because this is the coldest air we've had of the season, this is by no stretch of the imagination a major deep freeze Arctic outbreak. It is just a cold stretch, which is kind of normal for this time of year. Okay, so what's going to happen, since this is the storm track, this supplies the energy, the jet stream does, we'll see some weak storms form on the east side of the Canadian Rockies. They'll follow the jet stream south and eastward, and each one could bring us some precipitation. But there are two factors here that mean that these little Alberta clippers will not be big precipitation mechanisms. Number one, that they're coming out of Canada. Okay, so as they head south and eastward, they're not bringing much moisture with them because this is up here inside of a continent. It's fairly dry. If they would move very, very slowly, that would give time for warm, moist air to work its way northward, and that would bring us rain changing over to snow, or if the system is far enough south, snow only. But because clippers are named after the clipper ships of the sailing years, and a clipper ship had all those big sails and moved very fast for that time, that age. So since it's a clipper, it's moving fast, there's not enough time for that moisture to work its way and become very deep, and there's not a lot of time for a lot of moisture to get northward. So the clipper system forms here, and actually a little bit to the east of the Rockies, dips southward, moves pretty fast and moves on out, brings a little precipitation, but because it's moving fast, the moisture can't get here from the Gulf, and because it's moving fast, the pattern with it of rain and snow just moves through fast too, and there's not enough time for a lot of moisture to fall. Okay, so let's watch what happens here, okay? Pay attention to the, where the coldest air goes. Okay, so if we put this into motion, you can see it's kind of just treading water up to the north, but notice, again, and I'll back this up, notice how we kind of stay on the edge of the cold air. Okay, let's do this again, and I'll do it by hand this time. So watch what happens here, okay? Okay, as we head, okay, there we go. Notice how that green is staying right where it is, right where it is. We're a little bit colder here as we head towards Sunday the 1st. It'll be a cold Bengals game. And as that, then you see the green moving north and eastward, moving north and eastward. That's a warming trend because now we're on the south side of the storm track. And as it continues to move, you can see that we warmed up a little bit. So what happens is this dark green band that was originally down here is now just about over top of us. And so we've warmed a little bit because the colder air has withdrawn. This is really cold air up here in this purple shade. And so parts of New England, the maritime provinces of Canada will be very cold. So for us, it looks like we avoid the deep freeze. We don't go into a prolonged deep freeze, as I call it, but we're going to have this cold weather. It's going to stay cooler than normal as we head toward the 11th of December, but it's not a deep freeze. It's not below zero weather. It's not that kind of weather that breaks water pipes or anything like that. It's just typically cold weather for this time of year. Okay, let me go over to Facebook now and see what kind of, let's see here. All right. Facebook, all right. If we're going to Facebook now, all righty, we've got some comments. Okay, Susan Wally. Good evening. Hope everyone has their turkey. I tell you what. I'm a turkey lover. I love turkey. And my wife often buys, even when we're not in Thanksgiving, often buys turkey because I love turkey sandwiches. Turkey on rye with some cheese, a little salt and pepper. Now I'm hungry. So yeah, Susan, I hope everybody else gets their turkey or whatever they prefer. If they don't like turkey, whatever you want. I saw we interviewed Joe Burrow today. Or at least maybe he was just giving his podium talk, but on our air we had Joe Burrow, and he said, not such a turkey guy, but ham. He likes ham. So, that I know when we were kids, some of our relatives had ham, some had turkey, some of our relatives just had lasagna, but whatever floats your boat, it's fine. Hey, John Esper says, good evening, watching from the Columbus area. I'm assuming you mean Columbus, Ohio, not Columbus, Indiana. So, hi, John. Thank you for watching. Okay, so he said it's down to 36 here in Columbus with rain. Now, what's happening, John, is everything right now is moving to the north and east. So you're either going to stay steady temperature-wise in Columbus, okay, or the temperature will come up a few degrees, and then as we head a little bit past midnight, it'll start to drop off again as the colder air comes in. But ground temperatures are still pretty warm, and I still don't think there'll be, even as far north as Columbus, that there'll be much going on as far as slippery conditions go from snow and ice. Hi, Rick Kelly. Rick's from Mount Olivet down in Robertson County. Beautiful county down there. If you've never driven through Robertson County, I highly recommend it, like in the spring when the green's coming out, or in the fall, or any time of the year. Nice hills and that beautiful little place. So, hi, Rick. Okay, Stephen Bryce Campbell says, how heavy is the rain going to be? Okay, Stephen, we are not talking about flooding rains, but we're talking enough for some of the low spots in roads to have a little water. I think overall most of us get half an inch to 3/4 of an inch overnight, so it's not extreme. It's not like those thunderstorm rains that bring on flash flooding. So we're not thinking at all in terms of flooding, but we are talking about maybe as much as a half to 3/4 of an inch. Coming down heavily at times, but again slowly enough to help percolate into the soil and begin to recharge that soil moisture. And Susan, well, happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching right now. Okay, so what I typically do at this time, I usually go ahead and review what is going on, review the forecast, because that's all the comments. And I hope everybody's just enjoying holiday. I am off tomorrow. Ethan Emery will be in tomorrow. He'll have the 7:15 show. Ethan will be in and have the 7:15 show on Friday. I come in later in the day on Friday just for the late shows. So it'll be Ethan tomorrow and Friday, and then I'll be back on Monday. But let's go ahead and take a look at the forecast. All right. So we'll start off with this evening's forecast, and then let's see, I've got to see what we've got going on here. All right, there it is. So you're going to go to full screen, and we'll take a look at this evening forecast. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that temperatures don't drop off much. It's 45 right now in Cincinnati, dropping to 40 by 11 p.m. We're looking at a low of 36 tonight. Sunrise at 7:34. It'll be cloudy and gray. It still may be a little drippy or drizzly at 7:34, but any of the steady precipitation will have moved to the east. So for the morning commute, roads wet, rain-snow mix will be coming to an end. And I think by 8 a.m., almost everybody in the Fox 19 Now viewing area will no longer have precipitation. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 30s, and then wind chills will be in the 25 to 35 degree range. We already looked at that. Climate Prediction Center says colder than normal. Right on into December 11th. December 11th, I remember it, 1977. December 11th, that's when my son was born. He'll be 47 years old. Whoa. Makes me feel old. Okay, and then drier than normal through the 7th, drier than normal through the 11th, and going back to near normal as we head into the 25th, or Christmas Day. So here's your 7-day forecast. Tonight's low 36, high tomorrow 42. That morning mix ends. I think by 8 a.m. it's done, and the rest of the day it kind of dries out and slowly begins to clear out. 26 and 34, blustery with clearing skies on Friday. A low of 19 with a high of 32 on Saturday. Clouds increase with a few flakes maybe late in the day. 21 and 30 on Sunday. It'll be a cold, sunny day. 18 for the low, 31 for the high on Monday with a chance for a few afternoon or evening flurries. Dry on Tuesday, a low of 20, a high of 33, and then 35 on Wednesday with a chance for a few flurries again. Now, beyond the 7-day forecast, looks like this. Upper 30s to lower 40s for high temperatures, lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s. And again, because we are going into that pattern with northwesterly flow out of western Canada and those clippers possible, you've got a slight chance from the 7th to the 11th each day of getting a little bit of precipitation. And let's go back now and take a look at the 14-day temperature outlook. Well, first of all, we're going to put the highs on there, then the low temperatures, add the normal highs and lows, and you can see that the highs for 14 straight days, colder than normal. The lows above normal for tomorrow morning, below normal then again until we get to the 7th, and then kind of hugging normal after that. And so the takeaway from this 14-day temperature forecast is colder than normal weather. Several of those low moisture clipper systems coming in out of Canada could bring some precipitation, and that could mean a few episodes of light snow. Most of the time, a light snow and rain mix. Okay, so we again are talking about typical cold weather, not really comfortable, but typical cold weather for this time of the year. All right, so that's it for now. I thank you for joining me. Have yourself a happy Thanksgiving and a nice Thanksgiving. I hope you get to share it with friends and family. I'm off tomorrow. I'll be back for the late shows on Friday, but Ethan Emery will have the 7:15 weather show tomorrow and tomorrow and Friday. And that's it. Happy Thanksgiving. And as another thing my dad used to always say, no matter how bad you think you have it, think about how good you have it living in this country and be thankful for that. All right, so have yourself a happy Thanksgiving.